Alright, today we're going to learn about one-step equations. So your first step is to locate the variable, which remember is a letter, in most cases x. Then you're going to determine the operation that is tied to the variable. Then you're going to use the inverse operation on both sides of the equal sign to solve. And then you're going to check your solution. Alright, let's review inverse operations. So if you have an addition, the inverse operation would be subtraction, and vice versa. So if you have subtraction, the inverse operation is addition. If you have multiplication, your inverse operation is division. Okay. And vice versa. So if you have division, the inverse operation will be multiplication. Let's look at what these look like. So if we have x plus 7 equals negative 1, our goal is to get x by itself, or solve for x and figure out what x equals. So if we look at this equation, the opposite of adding 7 would be subtracting 7. So you have to subtract 7 on both sides. Right. If we look right here at our circle, right, if we remember to our properties from last year, negative 7 plus 7 is going to give me 0. So in order to solve this, we're using the additive inverse. You need to write that down because you're going to have to tell me what properties you're using. So when you add or subtract by the opposite, you're using the additive inverse. Okay, let's solve this. Bring our x down. Positive 7 minus 7 gives me 0, so I can cross this off. Bring down your equal sign. Negative 1 minus 7 gives me negative 8. Okay, so I have x equals negative 8. To check your answer, you're going to put your negative 8 into your x and see if you get what you are solving for. So negative 8 plus 7 gives me negative 1, and negative 1 equals negative 1. Okay, and let's look at another one. This time we have negative 11, or m minus 11 equals negative 9. So the opposite of subtracting 11 would be adding 11. And once again, we're using the additive inverse. Bring down your m. Negative 11 plus 11 equals 0, so cross it off. Bring down your equal sign. Negative 9 plus 11 gives me positive 2, or just 2. And if I check my answer, 2 minus 11 should be negative 9. Negative 9 equals negative 9. So my answer will work. I want you to pause the video and try the two problems that are below you and get them checked. Alright, let's go into multiplication division. The opposite of multiplying, remember when you have a number and a letter together, it means to multiply. So the opposite of multiplying by 4 would be dividing by 4. Please use your division bar, your fraction bar, not your division sign. Okay, and this is going to be the multiplicative inverse because we are doing the opposite operation. So you will have to also be able to name that property. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, so we can cross those off. A equals negative 24 divided by 4 should give me negative 6. And if I want to check my answer, 4 times negative 6 should give me negative 24. Negative 24 equals negative 24, yes. Okay. Some of you may say, well, I don't need to show those steps to figure that out. You actually do, because we're going to go into two-step and multi-step equations. If you don't show your steps now, you'll be out of habit and have to show them later. All right, let's try one more. The opposite of dividing by 5 would be multiplying by 5. So if I multiply by 5 on both sides, and once again, I'm using that multiplicative inverse. And this is actually 5 over 5, so that gives me 1. 9 times 5 gives me 45. If I check my answer, 45 divided by 5 equals 9. And 9 equals 9, which is true. Okay, try the 2 that are left on your paper and get them checked. And then you will work through the exploration on multiplying or one-step equations.